It's lovely to see some lovely bright sunshine on a cold winter's day. The sky is beautiful and blue today, but although it looks lovely, I was caught out by those frosts last night. I think it's time now just to add a little bit more protection into the garden, as the night temperatures are getting really cold. I've already started mulching the garden and adding some fleece onto the more tender plants, but I think it's time just to add a little bit more protection onto this tree fern. I do already put some fleece into the crown, but I think it's time now just to wrap up the trunk, as when I came out this morning, the fleece that I had placed in it had frozen right through. So let's get started by wrapping up some of these plants. So I've triple layered it now, and I'm just going to wrap it around the base of the tree fern, and hopefully that'll give a nice layer of protection now for the winter. It is nice and thickly put on, and just secure it then with a little bit of string. I have had a tree fern before, but that one was in a pot, and the tree fern trunk was way too small to protect, so I just overwintered that one by placing some fleece into the top of it, and that didn't turn out to be enough, and sadly it didn't make it through the winter, and it never gave me any new fronds again. So with these tree ferns being as expensive as they are, there is no way that I'm going to take any chances on this one. This one has a 2-foot trunk, I think, and this one was £225, I think it was. This is the first winter that it's had in my garden, so it'll be the first winter for it to go through, and I'm definitely not going to take any chances on this one, as I don't want to waste any more money on plants. So I'm just going to finish off by just placing the original fleece just back into the top of the plant, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this will be enough to get it through. And now that's looking a lot more protected, and it's looking really nice and snug in there. Around the side of the house, I always forget to mention that I have got this large phoenix palm in a bucket, and this one is doing quite well. I do forget to feed it as much as I should, and you can tell that it has got a few yellowing leaves, but it's quite protected in this corner. And I have lost a few of these over the years when they've been in the back garden, as they're not the most hardiest of palms. But around the side of the house, they seem to do okay without any protection. and this one's got some lovely new growth coming in the centre. Just a few little mistakes as well, just to clear up from my last video. I honestly thought that this green plant in the pond that was overtaken, it was mind your own business, as I have got the mind your own business plant just growing near. But I was informed by one of my viewers that it is actually in fact duckweed. So that was a mistake on my part, but thank you very much for pointing that out. I'm always happy just to have any information, as the wildlife pond is all new to me and I don't really know anything at all about aquatic plants. So any help I can get, I'm always grateful for. So walking down the pathway, another little mistake that I made was this euphorbia here. And I said that it was a euphorbia mellifera, but in fact somebody pointed out to me that it is a euphorbia wolfenii. And indeed it is. I remember now when I bought it. I wish now that when I'd started the garden 4 years ago, I had taken the time just to label up some of these plants, as I do try and remember them from memory, and I'm not always correct. So if I do make any mistakes, please point it out to me. I'm always happy to hear of any of you. And that's why I love being part of a gardening community, because hopefully not only do my videos help you along the way, but you can also help me with some information. So please like, comment and subscribe. I think it's also time now to trim down this clematis. And do you ever lose things in the garden? Well, today I've lost my secateurs. So luckily I had a new pair for Christmas. So I've had to open a new pair, which I wanted to keep. But I'm sure my old ones will turn up somewhere in the garden. And this clematis I've had for a few years. And it always grows up this trellis. It doesn't flower very well. I don't really have an awful lot of flowers on it. But I live in hope. I always trim it down in January time. And there's no leaves left on this now. So let's trim off all the old branches. And hopefully spring will be round the corner sooner than we know. We can all live in hope. I can't even say what it is. Comtesse de Bouchard, which is supposed to have some lilac flowers on it. As a rule, clematis can be split into 3 different groups. Group 1 are spring bloomers, and these bloom on old wood. These can be left unpruned, and a typical clematis of this type is a Clematis montana. Then you've got your group 2, which are repeat bloomers, and then the group 3, which is what this one is. These typically bloom in the summer or autumn, and these need to be cut back really in January, February, and cut them back to about 25 to 30 centimetres from the ground. Remove all the dead growth, because if they are left unpruned, the group 3 clematis will get tangled and very unproductive. The weather forecast says that tonight is going to be a real cold night, with temperatures down to -2, but at least now the garden will be ready. So I've come out here now the following morning, and the tree fern has stayed nice and protected overnight. It is absolutely freezing out in the back garden, but we haven't had any snow. Nothing yet anyway, but it is forecast for today, but I can't see us having any. Just have to wait and see. I've also come out and covered the clematis that I cut back. I've covered all the roots now with a nice thick layer of mulch, and hopefully that will keep them insulated now for the cold weather that's forecast, and it'll also serve a dual purpose by keeping them cooler in the summer. And also moving across the garden, it's only 2 degrees today in the greenhouse. I've already been in to have a look, and I've just placed some mulch along the top of the pittosporum that I planted earlier on in the week. So that too now will have another layer of protection. The cold weather hasn't put off the crocosmia, and they are still growing through. I thought that all this cold weather might have killed them off a little bit and set them back. But no, they are definitely growing stronger. But everything so far so good in the garden. Everything's holding up well. My fingers are absolutely freezing out here today. And it won't be long and I'll be going in for a nice cup of coffee. It is freezing cold. Most of the ferns in the garden are holding up quite well in this cold weather, but I have noticed that just going back into this border, although the front one is looking really good, the back one there, if I move this out the way, that one in there is completely dying back. But never mind, it'll come back in the spring. And the top of that mulch there is completely frozen, so it's definitely doing its work. Well, it is definitely cold here today in the garden, and if we do get some snow, you'll be the first to know about it. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.